Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with?
And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 1, episode number 3 for my Tuesday night TST, Toy Soldier Tuesday, and waiting in the green room. We have a couple tonight, a Mr. and a Mrs. It is Kim and David Cook, the owners and operators of MicShaun's Closet. If you buy online Toy Soldiers, you probably have purchased from them in the past or have seen them at the show. So looking forward to having them on the show tonight. And let's see who's in the chat room already. Big Boss Jack, thanks for joining us. Big Boss Jack's down in Georgia. I know he's getting a little cold weather down that way. Stacy Armstrong, this is the Stacy. This is for 1/32 scale guys, not 1/6 scale guys. I think you're on the wrong night, brother. Mr. Joe Baker, hopefully we'll have you on the show in the near future. Joe is a toy photographer and big toy soldier collector. Ronald McDonald from overseas, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's see who else is here. Did I miss anybody so far? If you're there, chat in. If you have any questions for our guests tonight. And speaking of guests, let me tell you what I got lined up in the near future, okay? This is straight off the press, man. This is hot off the press. I got Mr. Brad Curry lined up for February, hopefully. He is a 3D printer guy, and he redoes a lot of pieces and parts that you might be missing, maybe from your Guns of Navarone or Battleground sets. So we're going to have him on one night. Manny Gentile, I've had him on before. Mr. Rick Eber is going to be on if he can figure out how to use the internet. Call of Plastic, I got a call into him. Jeff Eimel, who is the owner and operator of BMC, we got him lined up for either February or March. James Viola, who has a huge YouTube channel. He does painting of toy soldiers. So we're going to have him on. I said Joe Baker. Hopefully we're going to lock him on, talk about toy photography. And believe it or not, we got Richard Conte, the owner of Conte's Toy Soldiers, lined up as well. So we got some Tuesdays lined up for us in the near future. So hopefully you guys can stick with me. Again, those of you that are familiar with my channel, you know I do a Monday night live stream every Monday for the 1/6 scale G.I. Joe guys. But now I've started this series, TST, Toy Soldier Tuesday. So hopefully you guys will keep this going and keep it running and still tune in. We got 15 people in the chat room already. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our special guest tonight. Again, this is a tag team. First time we've ever had a tag team, a Mr. and a Mrs. We have Mr. and Mrs. David and Kim Cook from MicShaun's Closet. How are you guys tonight?
Hey everyone. Thanks for having us on.
I had a little introduction. I was going to say you guys have been together since kindergarten and you never had a fight, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, I'm always right.
I'm sure. She's bobbing her head. Yeah, right.
As I'm getting kicked in the shed.
I am not.
Exactly. So, well, I'm glad you guys made it. Probably the last time I saw you guys, I guess it wasn't the last Gettysburg show. You weren't there at the last one. It was the one before that.
Correct. Well, we were in 24. We were
there in
not in August. We were one in April. And,
the first one. Yeah. Yep.
And then I think we were not in 22. I think was the time we'd been there before. We try to come about every other year to Gettysburg. It's a pretty long drive for us.
Right on. So I'm just looking to see if there's any questions before I get started. I know a
Do
lot.
you want to answer Joe's questions that he had earlier?
Yeah, we can go with that if you want. So Joe Baker had a question. Do you have it with you, or do you want me to read it from?
If you, I know he asked about the Sri Lankan painters, and I think he even talked about the company that he named the company.
Expeditionary Fish.
Anyway, just so Joe, if he's listening, he can understand is that's not where those figures are painted from. Some of the figures that we sell are done by Chris Ketcherside, which I know he knows who that gentleman is. And there's another gentleman that we have painting that I'm not sure. I could ask him if people are wanting to know who he is. I can probably make sure it's okay, and I would get his name out there. So we had another gentleman before that no longer paints for us. So the Indian company that he's referring to did paint a lot of figures for TSSD before we purchased the business. And so anyway, we don't use them. We haven't used them. Not anything against them. It's just shipping off stuff to India didn't sound like a great plan.
Gotcha. All right. I think you know this person, LOD Enterprises.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
Hey, Ken.
Got Ken lined up for the near future as well, so that'll be cool.
James
Viola. James Viola has a huge YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with it, make sure you check out his channel.
Okay.
It's about painting toy soldiers and conversions and stuff like that. Mostly 1/32 scale, which is great.
Outstanding.
So you might have a new painter there for you. So
maybe it sounds like he might have his hands full, but yeah.
yeah. So how about we go to your video? You want to walk us through that? The couple slides that you sent us. So you guys sent me a couple slides earlier. I'm going to pull that up, and we're starting off with just your logo here. So if people aren't familiar with that, let me bring that back.
Well, the artwork that you're seeing, I'm a huge Civil War fan, just from growing up in Tennessee and with my family taking me to battlefields. So there's different artwork. That's just some of it. I think that was Triani and Rocco, some prints there. So yeah, there's artwork all over my house. This is just parts of it you're going to see in a few slides.
There's artwork in certain rooms all over the house.
Yeah, you know,
mostly mostly
not in the
War,
kitchen and the bedroom yet. So yeah,
mostly Civil War era or everything.
Yes, mostly Civil War. I love all parts of history, but I definitely know Civil War the best. I have a pretty extensive library. But also, it's just I'm kind of surrounded with it, just like you are in Virginia. I'm surrounded with it in Tennessee as well. So
I'm doing a little more research right now on the Revolutionary War around my area, and
there was a lot. Now that's obviously we didn't have much of that in Tennessee at all.
I mean, everybody knows about Yorktown, but I just did some research on the Battle of Great Bridge. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, very small battle, but I'm hoping to make a playset of it this year for.
That's a
the
great
Gettysburg
idea.
show and have it ready. Yeah. So let's move on to your next slide here.
Yeah, that's another Triani print. That's actually at the Battle of Fredericksburg when they were coming through the town and they were being sniped at from all the buildings and stuff like that. So yeah. And that's just some of the play sets I've collected over the years. I think most of those came from a collection. I don't collect play sets very often. I buy them sometimes to resell, obviously. But when you buy a company, you kind of go in more of the sell mode than collect mode. And so anyway, those are some of the sets that I very much wanted. I'll probably part with them soon enough at a show though. So, but anyway, yeah, that's just some of them. And that's Ken's Barzo, with the Barzo products of the Nottingham Castle. And I like Legos, and actually those are knockoff Legos because that's definitely with Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings mixed in there.
So I did Legos for Christmas this year. I did a military base, and I was telling people, Lego does not do military, man. You got to do the knockoff brands when it comes to military stuff.
Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah.
But the knockoff sometimes are cheaper, right? And they don't usually breach the licensing products, although I guess some companies do or whatever. But yeah.
Yep. We got Battalion 132nd in the house with us tonight. Joe Baker said thank you for answering his question.
Yeah, and that's just a couple more places. Actually, I bought those from Ron Barzo back when he was selling them. He always, Ron was very kind about putting a note on the inside of it when you purchase something from him or whatever. Those were like the last two sets I bought when he was still in business. So yeah, they mean something to me because I bought them straight from him. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Not in circulation anymore, I don't think, right?
No, the Daniel Boone set's kind of hard to find, I think. So
Yeah.
I used to, my oldest brother, that's 12 years older than me, Pat, was a huge relic hunter. And obviously with whatever he did, I wanted to do with him. So that's just a small part of the collection that we used to collect. I didn't find that much stuff. Found hundreds and hundreds of bullets. But it was more about me, it was just a treasure hunt of finding something that somebody dropped, a long time ago, what that person was doing when he dropped it. That's what that meant to me. So I loved relic hunting, and that's just some of my small part of my collection.
So you got 1-to-1 scale stuff then, huh?
Yeah. And that's I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it. That's I think it may have been Red Dot, but I know Gene Hoffler, I think maybe what produced that. But that's actually a Fort Independence with pieces added on over the years. That was probably my favorite thing I ever got for Christmas, just because I can mix in all my toy soldiers with that. And actually, that's a pretty neat plastic fort. Back in the day, it was quite a bit of detail and a lot of towers and a lot of places to put the soldiers. I love that set.
And that's 1/32 scale?
Yes, that's 1/32. That was a little bit hard to find. I think it actually went by different names than Fort Independence. And the box is just the box top, because it was a real thin box. It wasn't like the cool Marks boxes back in the day. So I just kept the top, just partly because I wanted to see the picture of the of it being set up.
Sure.
What I'm saying, and also to remember what it was or whatever. But I picked up different pieces over the year off of eBay and added to it.
And who made that? Do you know?
Gene Hoffler or John Hoffler, however you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure. I think there was another company like Red Box or Red Dot, I think, that maybe also produced it. Now, whether that was a different company, hey, I'm not up to date on that. I'm sure Rick Eber and some of those guys probably know all about it, but I'm not all over that.
Wow. I have a Fort Independence, but it was
I'm sorry, you can find that on eBay if you look like Fort Independence. You'll definitely find pieces, parts of it, if not a whole fort on there sometimes.
But it's more Western, right?
Yes, it's definitely Western. It's like I said, I should have maybe gotten down lower or whatever like that. Obviously, those are log cabins, and those are the watchtower. Yeah. And there's two gates laying there in the front, and of course the wagons, and then the lean-to buildings. There was, I think, two of them came in it originally, and I think the log cabin, one of those came in it originally. And I think 4 towers came in it, which whatever's in that picture is exactly what came in the original place set.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to look for that one. Yeah, I've never seen that one before. That's neat.
And these are our 2 new prototypes of the southwest wall section. Those are just obviously prototypes. They will be turned into foam. What we're going to do with these is obviously we're going to make them for Alamo, but we're also going to make them for Southwest buildings. We're going to have them painted so that they can be used for different periods, North Africa or whatever like that. But those buildings go up towards where the entrance gate was and our lunette in the kitchen, and then they extend down to the main part of the Alamo. It's a section of the fort that we haven't touched, and really I don't think anyone's produced before. We've got a third building that unfortunately I don't have in our possession yet, but it should be here within the next few weeks, and then we're sending them on to production, and hopefully we'll have them in a few months anyway. And in the book that we have there is what we've based all the Alamo buildings that we've produced, and even TSSD has produced before us. The Mark Lemon book is so we're trying to finish up the Alamo, and we're pretty close to having all the buildings to finish up the Alamo to scale for TSSD to have all of them. If someone wants to purchase all of them, they can have that. It's a whole bunch of buildings, and it's very large, but it is pretty impressive.
Now, E4 Airman has a question. He says Conte had a large Alamo set as well.
Yes, Richard. I'm sorry.
These will go along with that set, right?
Yes, Nick Versteg and Richard worked together. They were at one time working to try to work on different pieces of the Alamo. Since then, TSSD produced some of the same pieces, and just because they worked better with the the size of them and scale of them. And since then, like I said, some of the other places have been replaced, because I know Richard did a facade of an Alamo Chapel, and he did an entrance gate. So anyway, long story short, you won't have to use any of Richard's pieces or anyone else's pieces if you want to have all of the pieces of TSSD. You can have a complete Alamo. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have them all produced.
So I'll save it till the end, but you pretty much took over TSSD, correct?
Yes, we bought all the plastic molds, and we bought all of their inventory, as well as all of the foam molds and all of the foam production. So yeah, we've continued all of that. It's been fun, and we've added to it in the foam, and we're hoping to add to the figure line. That's a expensive endeavor, but we are determined that we're going to expand our figure line. Hopefully we'll start that process sometime in 25.
And these buildings right here are more 54 millimeter, 56
yes,
millimeter?
They're honestly, for sure, 1/32, they could actually be a little larger. Definitely not any smaller than that. Okay. But the guy that produces these, he creates them to actually, in his mind, he's an engineer. So if that building is actually per scale. So in other words, if that building was, actual size, you could just break it down. So he breaks it down to inches from the actual size at whatever he can measure from. And again, there's not a definitive account of how the Alamo looked. Lemons is usually considered, closest to what maybe most people envision. But that's the fun thing with it. People can create anything they want to with the pieces that they have fun with it. Yeah, if you have classic toy soldier, you have Conte, put them together, have fun with it, and set you up an Alamo.
But like you said earlier, if you put all these together, you're going to have a 10-foot by 6-foot,
10 foot by 12 foot at least. What we would like to do is, when we're complete, we'll have a diagram and obviously photographs of a complete Alamo assembled, just to give somebody an idea. And again, that's not because people don't have to go out there and buy 30 buildings that have an Alamo. They can sure do some other version of it and have just as much fun.
Sure. Can you give us a little background on MicShaun's Closet? Like when you got started? I've got your logo.
Well,
right,
we actually, we've been selling on eBay for a long time, and we started out, the name of our business is MicShaun's, and that's Michael and Sean's names. That's our two sons. Obviously with, kids having sporting equipment, used sporting equipment, clothes, toys, we wanted to sell stuff out of their closet, actually out of the floor of our oldest son's bedroom. It was laying all over the floor. We just picked it up there and put it on for sale. But anyway, that's where the name came from. So we used to sell that type of stuff. I got a wild hair seeing Halloween costumes at Walmart or Party City, and we sold costumes for a long time. And actually we had some amazing Halloween seasons selling costumes. And we did that for many years. We still have a few of them left that we still have in inventory. But I went back to my love. I love plastic toy soldiers. And it's 1/32 scale or larger. That's what I know. That's what I grew up with. I had 1/72, and I like 1/72, we sell a little of that, but I stay in my lane. I know 1/32. I love it. And I love the unplastic stuff, and nothing against the painted or the metal. It's all awesome. Anyway, just reached out to a few different companies like Hobby Bunker and Toy Soldiers of San Diego, and they were kind enough to sell to us, and we would sell their products. And it grew from there, and we kept adding products and adding inventory until one day I was talking to Deanna, and she was down and was talking about she was trying to sell her business. And she just wasn't feeling very good about what she was getting offered for it. And, I didn't think much of it at the time, but, I was like, wow, that would be awesome to own that business, because I think highly of their products. Oh, yeah. So we were sitting at the dinner table a few days after that, and I just said, told my wife, what she had said. And, I said, man, that would be awesome to have that. And we were talking a few minutes later, and she said, well, why not us? And I was about choked on whatever we were eating or whatever, because that's not, and I wasn't fishing. I wasn't fishing for, that type of reaction. Honestly, I thought it was way out of our reach and not something we should, that's more my personality though. I don't grab for stuff. She's more the grabber and shoots for the stars. So anyway, it was the best decision we've ever made in our lives. It's been so wonderful because we've met people like you. We've met all the people that I'm seeing on the screen here. We've met so many friends through this business that we never would have met. We didn't go to shows. We knew shows existed, but our lives and kids. I mean, anybody that has kids know, and Ken knows what I'm talking about because he has kids right now and everything. Our lives were going to practice and ball games all the time. So, we didn't go to do that. So since then, we've been able to go to shows and see our friends. It's a vacation. It's a working vacation.
Well, and most importantly, he was able to walk away from a very nice electrical contracting business that was not fun anymore.
Yeah, at one time I was electrical contractor and she had a full-time job. She had a full-time job. We were running eBay. So, honestly, we were working, and I was coaching all of my kids' sports. So, honestly, I put my head down at like 11 o'clock at night after shipping and all the other stuff. Anyway, I don't miss electrical contracting at all.
So do you have a brick and mortar store, or is it all
no,
house?
We just work 100% out of our house. We have a large basement downstairs that houses most of our inventory. And then we have a couple of storage units, large storage units that house the other stuff. All the cases of TSSD mostly is what the storage units house or whatever. Because when we place an order, we're not ordering 1,000 boxes. We're ordering, 10,000 boxes, right? So, yeah.
So everything that Nick and Deanna had all got shipped to you, or?
Absolutely. Yes. And actually we have, she sent us, last year, she sent us some of the prototypes of the original figures. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, she just didn't know what to do with it because Nick collected like I do. And she kind of wanted to move on from that. So, but yes, we bought 100% everything they had, including all of their inventory.
Did you get the Alamo diorama that he made?
What's that now?
The Alamo diorama that Nick made years ago. Did you get that?
No, he ended up keeping, I think, one building. A lot of them were the original building. So he had one of every building he ever made. Now, I ended up getting like 5 of those buildings, and one of them was the original chapel. I guess that the first one that was ever made or whatever like that.
Yeah.
But no, I never. If he ever had the Alamo set up, I don't know where he had.
He had a diorama, and I went to San Diego twice and was invited to their house. Super nice people, man. You can't
absolutely
just like you two, man. Just super nice, and gave me a tour of the house and everything. Let me go shopping in the garage when he had it all in the garage.
That is Nick, absolutely.
But he had this diorama. He said he painted it years ago, and it was hand painted, all the figures, and it was taken over.
I did not know that. That is
everything
awesome.
was glued down. So I was wondering whatever happened to that because it was a beautiful.
I would imagine maybe Deanna either probably sold it or she still has it. She kept some stuff, but I do know she got rid of.
She sold some of the stuff at the California show a few years ago. I know she sold quite a bit of stuff because she was selling it inexpensively or whatever like that. And she sold some stuff on Facebook too or whatever. And that was stuff that we knew we weren't getting part of the when we bought the business. We knew they were keeping those, and that was fine. It was a painless, wonderful experience buying the business from them. We were friends, but we became better friends through a transaction like that, which was nice.
Yeah. Very cool. So Kim, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Were you dragged into this, or
no, not at all.
Voluntarily, or was this?
As long as we've been together, I think I have heard a million times how much he would have loved to have had a hobby store or something like that. And then I knew he had all the play sets and he bought stuff through the year. So it just, when he said, let's figure out if we can do it, I'm like, I'm on board. Let's go. So we just did it. And I work myself. I have a full-time job, but we do this together. I'm more the computer person and he's more the salesperson and does all the shipping and all that kind of stuff. Cause I'm here. I'm in the office 3 days a week. So
gotcha.
It's worked out really great.
Did you become more of a historian and learning all this stuff?
I kind of was a little bit before because I've been to lots of battlefields in Tennessee and Virginia, and
whether she wanted to or not. Back then, now she's enjoys it, but back then I was dragging her. So yeah,
I think we've all done that with our wives or girlfriends.
Yeah. And we took our boys, and they loved it. Man, they loved learning all this stuff.
Absolutely.
So.
And she's been a wonderful partner, and honestly, we have so much fun together. And she's wonderful. She's so sweet to the customers. She's kind to them. And she's become very knowledgeable. And if she doesn't know, she doesn't admit, I don't know, I'll find out, right? And that's all you can do, or whatever. But we're a team, and we're a team in everything. And this being a team in this business makes it even more fun.
Nice, very cool. You mind if I move on to some of the questions that I sent you? Did you have a chance to look at those? So yeah. All right. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Where can people find your videos and stuff like that, or your channel other than the website? Just go to the website.
Go to the website. Now, we don't have any videos on there right now as far as you're talking about our products or stuff like that. Is that what? Yeah.
YouTube channel, no YouTube channel or Instagram, right? You guys are just strictly.
We do have Instagram. We have Instagram, Facebook, and then we have our Shopify store and our eBay store. And we're currently working with someone who's also in the toy soldier business, their daughter. We're working with her, and she's kind of helping us. So we're, thinking about YouTube, and we're thinking about also putting blog stuff and videos on our main website. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll post videos sometimes of the shows or whatever like that. And speaking of that, the Midwest show's coming up. So if you need us to do something for you for that, that's a great show, and that's in March.
I was just going to ask you, when's the next show you're attending? Is that the one in March?
That's the one. We usually go to Midwest, Chicago for sure, and then every other year we try to go to Gettysburg.
Yeah,
Gettysburg one. Okay. So is this a Gettysburg year or no?
We went in 24. It won't be this year. It'll be 26 when we go back. So hopefully, I don't think Steve's planning on letting it go away. So it should be hopefully in 26 as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. How about your personal collection? I know you showed some of it there. I mean, is it much larger than that? Are you selling stuff?
I've got like a few Mark's play sets that are parts that I had as a kid that obviously got broken pieces in it. I have some Conte Zulu sets. I have the complete play sets that he produced. Other than that, it's more about loose figures. Honestly, didn't get a whole lot at Christmas. We didn't have a lot of money, so I don't have as many play sets as maybe some other people that grew up with. Not that I'm whining at all. I had wonderful Christmases. It's just I don't have a large collection from that period of time because I just, that wasn't underneath the tree that day. So, and like I said, I love all the stuff, but I'm not looking to collect right now. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't, some of the stuff doesn't wow me. So
Steve Powell, one of your
buyers?
Yes.
Says you helped him out a lot in the past. So
yes, Steve, we appreciate you.
Best and worst things about collecting. I know you said you're not collecting all that much right now, but how about just best and worst things of being a dealer?
Yeah, I tell everyone. I think the worst part about buying a business is that you become more focused on making it business grow and making it better or not better, just continuing the tradition, and that's what we tried to do. So I look more at what my customers might like, what I like, and hopefully they like, like the Russian stuff coming out of Russia and stuff like that. We've carried that before. So we continue to try to do that, and we listen, and I try to keep my ears open all the time for new products. Are
you the only dealer for Expeditionary Forces?
Oh, no. Those, I don't know. I know Matt Murphy of Hobby Bunker sells them. Michigan Toy, I think, did or does. So there's other. I reached out to him out of a blue. I mean, just back when he first started producing the World War II stuff and some other stuff, the Greeks, and Scott Lamb's his name. He was wonderful, and we've been selling that stuff from way back when, and that's a very good seller. Not everybody wants to put pieces and parts together, but that's been a wonderful line, and he continues to grow it.
What are your thoughts on 3D printing?
I think it is definitely where everything's going. Mike Prendergast and I are friends, real good friends. It's marvelous what he's doing at Warhorse Miniatures. Spiro's doing some wonderful things. It's not a perfect science because there's lots of variables with the resin and all of that stuff and the colors. And Mike is a mad scientist with that stuff and trying to create the perfect resin, and he's wonderful at that. So anyway, I would love to explore that, but it's not just pouring in some plastic and pushing a button. There's a whole lot to it. And, but yeah, we would love to explore having some, resin figures, 3D figures made in the future or whatever like that. But it is definitely the future.
Yeah. We talked about that on last week's show with the Plastic General, and he said that's pretty soon in the next 10 years, you're going to see you just order the 10 figures you want as opposed to getting a bag of.
That's probably pretty accurate. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, good and bad, I guess. You get exactly what you want, but,
I think there'll probably always be, like the still molds, I think, but it's just so expensive to make the stuff. But there's nothing, those guys, our figures, they're made of something. I mean, you can step on them, you can drop them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the benefit of them. They can be broken. They're plastic, but it takes something to break them. It takes something to knock a head off of one of them. So anyway, there's a plus for that, but they're a lot more expensive, and it's a time consumption with it. So
you touched on a little bit earlier. What were your toys growing up? Favorite?
Definitely Mark's playsets.
Mark's playsets, or
absolutely. And for some reason, we only had the pennies catalog, so it was whatever Mark's playsets was in the pennies catalog, and this would be late 60s, early 70s. Sure. So I didn't even know Sears existed as far as a Christmas catalog. I wished I had, but anyway, that's my story, and I'm sobbing to it. So there you go. Anyway, so I got play sets out of it, and that's where I found that Ford Independence, though, was in the pennies catalog, and I was all over that. That's probably one of the last things I got before I became like 13 years old and too cool to collect toy soldiers anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember that day when you stopped playing and started collecting, or just stopped playing and then gave it up till you started?
Yeah, I don't think I gave it up, but I remember at a birthday, I think it might have been my 13th birthday, and I got like a G.I. Joe, or it wasn't a G.I. Joe, it was I forget who it was, doesn't matter, but it was a 12-inch figure. Yeah. And my friends were there, and they were like, what are you getting that for? And so, 13 years old, being embarrassed by buying a toy, it definitely changed how much fun I was having. Now, I still played with toys for a few more years or whatever, but it definitely took the wind out of my sails.
Well, and he got to relive again when our boys were little, because he did buy them toy soldiers.
Oh, absolutely.
And that.
And
so
I'm living it now.
They were exposed to all that as well.
Sure. I'm living it now. Every time I chunk a bag of plastic figures in a box, I'm checking them out. So yeah, it's pretty cool getting to send toy soldiers to somebody.
Heck yeah, man. What are your plans for your personal collection? I mean, I got two daughters. Neither one of them want any of my G.I. Joes. They don't want any of my toy soldiers. They're like, Dad, just start selling it now. And I'm like, I still kind of have fun with it. I don't want to get rid of it yet. But what about you? Are your kids interested at all? They want to take over the business, or?
Definitely, my youngest son is not interested at all. The older son would be interested in parts of the stuff, and may even be interested in, running the business. I don't think that would be a possibility. I would definitely give him the opportunity. But as far as my collection, we've already had discussions about that, of like my book collection or whatever like that. Hopefully we can donate that to a college or a library or something like that. Selling that would be a pain, because it's an extensive library of books. Same thing with the play sets or whatever. When it gets to, few years from now or whatever, I'll probably start selling most all of my play sets and stuff like that off. It may be bittersweet when I'm doing that or whatever like that, but hey, I don't want to leave a whole pile of mess for our kids or whoever to take care of. That's for sure.
Sure. Any number one thing on your wish list? Any holy grail that you wish you had, or maybe wish you had when you were a kid and didn't get?
Well, definitely there were some places. I love the blue and gray and the Centennial blue and gray and stuff like that. The giant blue and gray, all that. That's one of the sets. If I'd have saw in the Sears catalog back in the day, I'd have jumped all over that. Maybe that. And, there's some of the cool boats and some of that stuff that Richard Conte made, some of that stuff. But honestly, I look at it and, I see the price tag on it, not to say that it's not worth it. That's not what I'm saying. I move on because I got bills to pay. So I move on to the next item. Or next thing I'm going to sell.
Kim, I don't want to leave you out. How about you? Any favorite toys as a kid growing up? I mean, I'm sure you weren't into G.I. Joes or
no, I was not. I was very much into Barbie and all that kind of stuff. So was it last Christmas or Christmas before?
2 Christmases.
2 Christmases ago, my husband, I had talked about this my whole life. my sister and I had, she's a couple of years younger than me. We had one of the very first 1970s Barbie camper that came out.
Oh, yeah.
And my mother, because my dad was in the Marine Corps and we moved around a lot. So my mother just, I guess, got rid of it and got tired of moving it. But anyway, and I've always wondered, I'd love to see it again. And he found one on eBay and got me one for Christmas. So that was a really good surprise. And it's upstairs in my office where I am so I can see it. And I'm not really a big collector, I guess, having lived a military life. We had to move a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I like, I have my grandmother's dishes. I feel like things that really mean a lot to me and stuff like that. So, and I think that the toy soldier business, that means so much to most people who collect them and kind of, buy. I understand where they're coming from because I think it's really important. They love it. They like to look at it. They like to hold it. They like to set it up. They like to do whatever they want to do with it. And I agree with Ronald McDonald. It is definitely better than drinking. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing I tell everyone. I mean, seriously, if I can put a smile on somebody's face that's having not a great time or whatever. Again, I don't. I've had customers call me and they're talking about having their electricity turned off and they had a water leak. And again, we have a honest conversation about you don't need to be buying toy soldiers. But if again, if it can make you happy, especially during 2020 when people definitely were collecting, I think they had time and I think they were trying to bring joy to their lives and playing with their grandkids. So I love selling stuff that should be fun. It's really no harm in a plastic toy soldier. It sure can't do anything, to hurt anybody. So I like that.
See,
So
now, Kim,
camper,
let me just tell you,
was the very first one in 1970. It was orange and yellow.
I can go get it.
And it had, he can go upstairs and get it. It had the door slid it and had a little thing that rolled out like a little tent to go over the area, the yard area, I guess, or whatever. And I just never will forget. We lived at Camp Lejeune at the time when I got it. And we had this like little courtyard area that had bushes. And my sister and I would spend hours out there just playing. So
I see now Murray Corrigan, he's from Canada and he collects 1/6 scale. And Stacy, he's from Michigan and he's also in my 1/6 scale. So they do a lot of conversions and they take the Barbie vans and convert them into G.I. Joe stuff. So I'm sure that's why they want to see this.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is.
And it had that kind of.
Yeah, it had the little flip and you pull this.
So that's the same as the Big Jim
out of
van.
there.
I think the Big Jim van was exactly the
little. I'm scared to do too much with it because it's old. So.
Oh yeah.
And you walked in, and then does the other side slide open? It slides open, doesn't it?
I know the back came open. Yeah.
Yeah. So it slides, and you can see in there, and you can see the kitchen at the back and the seats and stuff at the front. So it was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, my sister and I. So this brings back lots of memories.
That is very cool to find that. Yeah, all these guys want to convert it into a G.I. Joe van, so don't sell it.
Don't give my husband any ideas.
Don't sell it.
That's a private chat. Stop.
Kim,
someone early on asked if we had or how we felt about Airfix. I know we sell some of those.
Yeah, we love Airfix. I tell everyone that some people are real concerned about scale. Airfix guys are, smaller than our guys, and our guys are thicker than those guys.
Yep.
If you don't care about, one guy being a little bit shorter than the other guy, then our guys work with Airfix. But if you're a scale person, ours are probably a 1/4 inch or half an inch taller than some Airfix figures.
I would say they're true 1/32, like Mark's probably. Airfix.
Yes. Yeah. I don't get into the true 1/32.
Yeah.
But
we use a measuring tape.
Yeah.
I measure from the bottom of the base to the top of the hat, and that's what we put in the listing. And then I measure the guy that's standing up straightest when I do that. I don't, not the guy that's squatting down or whatever. So again, I don't get into all the scale wars. I just try to tell you what size figure we are selling. and you can decide if it's too tall, too short, or it works just right.
Yep. Doll base is from Sweden. You got people from Canada, Sweden. You got them all over watching it tonight there.
I don't know if we've ever sold anything to Sweden or not.
Yeah. So, all right, Kim, I'm going to start with you on this question.
Okay.
Best childhood memory playing with your toys, and doesn't have to be the Barbie van, but I mean, it sounded like that was probably your
the Barbie van, and then
any
living on a
Christmas,
military base,
birthday?
we got really creative, the kids in the neighborhood. And I can remember, they'd come through and mow, and we'd create all these grass forts with rooms and all this stuff. And we had a blast. So, I mean, and then of course I went to high school in Southern California. So stopped playing with toys and started surfing. So there you go.
Oh, wow. Not a lot of surfing in Tennessee. I don't think.
No.
Dave, how about you, man? Any childhood memory? Christmas, birthday?
Definitely playing with toy soldiers in my backyard in the dirt, making all kinds of trenches. And then my dad one day asked me would I want a sandbox, and that was totally out of the blue. And I said, well, yeah, I want a sandbox. This was when I was like 6. So he built me a sandbox, and he could get sand from the railroad, and he would bring me sand. So I remember vividly. That was more my 1/72 why I collected those, because sandboxes aren't huge. So I would play usually with 1/72 in that. So I have a lot of wonderful memories of playing in a sandbox in my backyard, mostly because my dad built it.
But you said you don't have too many toys. Original.
I
toys
have some of the original Airfix and
Oh,
Eschke. I'm probably mispronouncing that name.
Oh, yes.
Products. Atlantic. I have some of the Atlantic old 1/72, and I think they're a little bit bigger than 1/72. I have some of those. They're kind of beat up and broken, some of them. But again, I've kept those just because they meant something to me, because they were from my childhood.
Yeah, sure. Any?
So I'm supposed to ask you about your Barbie camper, Paul.
I was waiting for that one. So I made a conversion a couple years ago. It was the bigger camper. It was the longer one.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
It
the
wasn't the
Winnebago.
Yeah, it wasn't the vinyl sides. It was a hard plastic side. And I converted that to a G.I. Joe Adventure Team one. And matter of fact, I just sold it in Atlanta when I was down there for the Joe Lana show last fall.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, your G.I. Joe collection, I was telling somebody on the phone today about it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's jaw dropping.
Thank you. All right. I think I got another question or two.
All right.
What would you see? Well, you're a dealer, so this would actually pertain to you. Is there anything that you would want to carry that other dealers haven't carried or you haven't seen in stores? Or, I mean, other than the 3D
other
print
products,
stuff?
if they're asking about, we would love to expand some of our line if that's what he's asking, and carrying other products. Sometimes not having a brick and mortar, you can't, businesses won't sell to you. And I get that, because a brick and mortar has a lot more overhead than we do, like Hobby Bunker. But yeah, there's plenty of products that we would potentially, sorry, it's our alarm going off. There's other products, we would definitely love to carry. And we would love to carry some of the Russian lines again, like Publius and Plastic Platoon, and on and on and on. Especially if hopefully the war will end. Yeah. Sometime. And
you have,
we'd love to
where's
carry
Mars from? The Mars stuff you carry, where's that?
They're from the Ukraine, but actually, I mean, I think the gentleman that owns it, he doesn't live in Ukraine anymore. I'm not sure where he lives. Poland, I think, because of the war, and he's had production issues or whatever. But we definitely sell Mars. It's been a wonderful seller for us. Now he's going the 3D printing route right now on some of his newer stuff, because he can't get the stuff made. Because of the war, he's struggling. He had some mold issues, and he can't get some of his molds repaired. And I think he's just having a hard time producing that stuff. So he went another avenue, and he's producing 3D printed stuff.
Steve Powell says you should carry Joy Toy military figures.
I've not heard of that.
I've heard of Joy Toy. I can definitely look into that. I think those guys are a little bit taller, aren't they?
I'm not familiar with them.
I think they're more like 4 or 5 inches. I think not that that's fine. They're more like, I think they articulate. I mean, you can move them around, I think.
Yep. Joe Baker. Yeah. Joe Baker says, which range of TSSD stuff do you love the most?
Well, if I was just collecting it, it would be the Civil War stuff, just because, again, of my love of Civil War. As a business person, I love World War II, and I love our Germans. again, I know I'm biased. I think they're some of the best Germans ever made. Our set 4, our long coat Germans, the sculpting on them is phenomenal. And by the way, that guy's name was David Lee that sculpted those. He sculpted the majority of the TSSD figures. So definitely the World War II, and I love our Germans. I think they're a phenomenal set.
And I like the Romans. I love the detail on the Romans, and just really like those. And of course, the Vietnam. Both of the sets of the Vietnam are with my dad serving 2 tours over there. That's very dear and near to my heart.
Speaking of Vietnam, it's amazing in the last 2 years how many Vietnam sets we've sold. It's become one of our top sellers. So it must be a point in time where America, Vietnam vets, whatever, are feeling comfortable and glad to collect toy soldiers and Vietnam toy soldiers, which is wonderful. And again, it's a war that obviously is controversial, and I'm not going down it, but the soldiers, I hope they're collected, and I hope it's bringing a smile on their face buying plastic toy soldiers is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I'm just reading through some of these comments, trying to catch up on the chats here. So, yeah, you don't really see much of the Vietnam era. I mean, I remember when Timmy came out. That was back in the day.
Yes.
Those were all Vietnam era type soldiers. But
Absolutely.
Other than that, it wasn't really until TSSD came out with theirs, I think.
I know that Plastic Platoon came out with some obviously long after TSSD, and Mars has some, and again after TSSD. And I just real quick story. If Nick wanted to produce figures, and he went around and asked different people what he should do first, he wanted to do Vietnam because he was in Vietnam and it was personal to him. And he was recommended the country wasn't ready for the Vietnam, so he went and did the Civil War first, which was, I'm sure it was a good seller for him, and it was a smart choice. But he wanted to do the Vietnam. But he made sure that he was going to produce them. So his last 2 sets, which, I think that says something about he knew whatever the time was coming or whatever, he made the last 2 sets were the Vietnam sets.
Yeah. He made like a downed helicopter too, wasn't it? In one of the
Absolutely. He made a Vietnam wall set, a 10-piece Vietnam wall set. He made a single-story Vietnam building, a 2-story Vietnam building, and that crashed Huey. Again, he was a helicopter pilot, so that meant something to him. And that means something to Kim, especially because of her dad being in Vietnam. We sell those figures, and it's been wonderful. And honestly, all of that stuff, the sales on the buildings and all of that stuff has picked up over the last couple of years.
Now, you sell both painted and non-painted, right?
That is correct. And if someone wants something, non-painted that is only, right now produced and unpainted, we can do that. Some of the buildings that you see online, occasionally Alamo buildings and some of the other buildings, I paint those myself. And again, I enjoy painting it. It's just making the time to do that. But if somebody sees something that's out of stock that is a painted building, it probably is a special painting that's painted by me. Now, there's a lot of John Atherton pieces, Atherton Scenics. Those are painted or whatever. And of course, we buy those from John. But yeah, if there's something specific, somebody wants to paint it or something like that, we could probably work it out. Just please don't be in a hurry if they want it. Because I'm the one painting it probably.
Gotcha. Hey, I always ask people this just to get your reaction. That the house is burning down, and you got to pick one thing. You got to grab it and go. What are you picking?
Well, first off, we're going to grab our cat.
I was going to say, Lily's walking by right now, so she's first.
Yeah, but we're talking about the toy. We're talking about the toy collection or the collection. What do you pick?
Probably some of those play sets I would grab. Probably at Fort Independence that you and I were talking about, that the pictures that were in the slideshow. I'd grab that. Other than that, honestly, that's the rest of it. I'm not that sentimental about it. As long as I can get out of there with my wife and my animals and my health, I'll take that.
Absolutely. I always want to. Anything special? I mean, grab that Barbie van or what?
Actually, I think I would give up the Barbie van for, we have grown up in both the photograph era and the digital era. So we have a lot of photographs of our children younger and my family and all that. So I think I would, there's some things under the bed that they would be rolling out the door with me.
There you go. Good.
We saw all the questions or whatever Joe Baker asked about our Romans, and the Romans were 3D printed, as well as the North Vietnamese Set 30. Those were also 3D printed. And the reason Nick went that route back in the day is that he wanted to have them ready for the Chicago show. So he expedited having them made. I don't know how the sculpting took place. Deanna would have to tell me that. But those were definitely some of the earlier 3D printed figures. And the Roman, our Set 20 and our Set 30 were 3D printed.
Okay.
I was going to add in here, my dad never said anything about spiders, so I have no idea. And I don't know that he had a fear of spiders. So I don't know if he saw them or not.
Yeah, I was reading some of those comments.
I know. I was like,
kind of odd.
It's a jungle. I imagine they probably were.
Yeah, he definitely, he had some PTSD.
Yeah.
So there were different things haunting him. He didn't talk about it as much as the vets don't do. So it could have been spiders, but yeah, we never got the feeling that he was squeamish of spiders. That's for sure.
Yeah. Any other things you want to touch on before I let you guys go tonight? I mean, had a lot of bouncing around and in the chat room here. People were
just honestly, like I said, back to the conversation we were talking about, it was the best decision we've ever bought. We so much appreciate our customers. And again, if you call and we don't answer again, I'm telling somebody today, I may be going to Costco. Please leave us a message and we'll get back with you. We get a lot of spams, so sometimes I don't answer a phone, especially if I think it is a spam. But we love our customers. I enjoy talking to them. And we so much appreciate how we've been accepted and so many friendships that we've made. I don't want to start rattling off names of the people that have been so kind to us because I'll forget somebody, but a lot of them are on this message boards tonight, and it's been fun. And I'd do it all over again. Wished we were able to have purchased a business a long time ago and been doing this 30 years, because we're actually very new to this hobby, considering how some of these guys have been collecting for 30 and 40 years. We don't know the Chicago show from 20 years ago, so we only know now, and now is good enough for us. And we think the toy soldier business is headed in a really good direction. You have a lot of 3D printing going on, Warhorse Miniatures again, Richard Conte, Ken Sack, Jeff Imel at BMC, all of these guys. And again, I'm apologize, I'm leaving somebody out that's making awesome. Matt Murphy, but
Paragon.
He's not necessarily making anything new, but yes, he's carrying on, and he's got a wonderful, wonderful toy soldier store. Anyway, I think our hobby's in a good place. It won't be the heyday anymore, whatever that is. We know that it's good, and our business continues to grow, and we want to try to continue it to grow. The stuff coming out of Russia, I left that out, all of those wonderful sets that they keep producing. I think our hobby is in a good place. And again, I know it's finite with maybe the age of some people passing away or whatever. They grew up collecting them. But there's also there's quite a few young guys, and I mean young, they're young to me. They're 30 and 40 years old. That's probably not young. They're young to me. And they're collecting, and they don't buy 5 bags. They buy thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So again, people still love history, and they still love creating dioramas and gaming. They still war game with the stuff.
Yep. I'm going to ping off of Joe Baker and Tom Carroll, man. You guys are great with customer service. You've hooked me up every year. If I got some questions or you got a picture on your website and it says it's out of stock, you put my name in there and say, I'll save it for you as soon as it comes in, man. So
thank you. We do that.
Yeah, we definitely.
I discovered you guys the hard way on eBay. And then, when I got directed to your website, I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, cool. And
eBay has its place. We owe them a lot, and we will continue to sell on there. But as much as we can direct people to our regular website is good.
I think occasionally you can buy some of our sets cheaper on eBay than you can on Shopify, and that's not intentional. That's a mistake. So again, please, if there's ever a question about shipping costs or an item being more expensive in one place or the other, we'll work with you. Again, I'm human. We make mistakes, and if I screw up an order, which I'm known to do, Paul, I think I sent you something incorrect one time before, or I left something out. So we'll make it right. And again, the good thing about making a mistake is I usually get to talk to the person on the phone, and we get to laugh, and I get to have a conversation with them. So yeah,
I know. No, it was great, man. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. We're getting to the top of the hour. If you want to just let people know where they can find you, where they can Get your website.
Yeah, you can find us on eBay, as we said, and you can definitely find us at MicShaun's Closet. Our webpage, our
MicShaun'sCloset.com.
Yeah.
And then on eBay, it's just MicShaun's Closet, all one word.
Yep.
all one word. And obviously find us at the Midwest Show in March. I think it's March
the 16th.
16th, Sunday the 16th, but we'll be doing room trading before that. And we plan on being at the Chicago show. And like I said, hopefully we will be at the Gettysburg show in 26. John Atherton?
No, John Salatellis.
Oh, right.
We're saying hi to John in Canada.
Oh. So yeah, that's how to find us. And like I said, our phone number's on there. We advertise in Playset Magazine too, and that's actually a very good advertising device.
Yes.
People see our pictures because that's the only way they see our stuff.
I'm hoping to get him on the show in the near future as well. So
yes, that would be wonderful. Rusty's a great guy. He's a fun guy.
He's a hard guy to track down. He's a hard guy to track down, though. That's the thing. He's busy.
Yes.
So, hey, I want to thank you guys again.
Thank you so much.
This is my first tag team, husband and wife. This is great, man. So,
well, you need to do it a little more often, brother.
So, hey, everybody, have a great week. And next week, same time, same place. Toy Soldier Tuesdays. Thanks
Thank
again.
you so much.
Thanks, guys.